Italian Football Podcast.
Let's move on to a very, very important matter, and that is Milan Skriniar. He got red carded in this game. At the time, you can fill us in about what's going to happen, but at the time it was said that this might be his final game ahead of the game. This could be Milan Skriniar's final game, and then he gets sent off in the first half. Total disaster of a game for Skriniar. I think he had 5 fouls. He was very on edge. He wasn't his headspace, as you said. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good at all.
Headspace. No.
It was clear he was affected by all of this, and of course his agent's interview, which was in and around given on Telenor, in and around the game starting. On TV, was just the timing of it. It just speaks volumes as to how dysfunctional Inter are run. And finally, the Italian media are picking up on this. They have given Suning, I think, in the past, except for Zazzaroni, who just chats shit in Corriere dello Sport, the rest of them have been giving Suning a pass and how they run the club. The criticism, whenever it's come, has just been stupid and reductive. But now they're picking up on it, and they're actually going after Suning and saying, hang on a minute, what exactly are you offering Inter? The annual sponsorships from Chinese companies has gone from 94 million to 3 million per year. You have the main sponsorship on the shirt, which is the prime real estate for any club in terms of sponsorship revenue, is zero. Because of the Digital Bits disaster, you're the only top Italian club that has to turn a profit from the transfer window, and has done so for the last 2 years. 110, 120 million and 40 million last summer, going up to 60, and this summer it's going to be another 30, 40, 50 million again. And in the middle of all this, you have somehow managed to lose Milan Skriniar and not get what his market value is, because you turned down 50, 60 million last summer when he's only got 12 months left. It's beyond cartoonish. It's beyond incompetent. Their management of this club, and I say Suning because they are the owner, a fish rots from the head down. They are the ultimate responsible for everything that's happening. I definitely think Marotta should accept responsibility for how he handled the Skriniar situation, and we'll get to that soon. But it's an overall collective failure. And as long as Suning own this club, unless they begin to seriously start to invest, and I'm not talking about the transfer window, but seriously begin to invest, there's not their project is dead. There's nothing there. It's not even frozen anymore. It's dead. And the Milan Skriniar situation in and of itself, look, this is a guy who has pledged his loyalty to Inter a million times, both publicly and in his actions. When he fired his agent to extend his contract, when he came out and said, the fans know me, they know what I want. But when the club puts you up for sale, and that's what's happened time and time again, especially last summer, when you sit down and negotiate with a club about transfer fees, that is essentially telling the player, we want to sell you. No matter how you cut it, that is what it is. And that's not happened once with Milan Skriniar, but many times over and over and over. And he looks at this and goes, hang on a minute, I've pledged my loyalty to you. You've waited to extend my contract until it's in the last 12 months. You then, and the summer before preceding that, you decided you were negotiating my exit, and you've just took me for granted. And then he's like, well, hang on, PSG are paying me are basically giving me a blank check to sign, and give me a signed blank check, and I can take whatever I want. And I get to play with Messi, I get to play with Neymar, I get to play with Mbappe, Hakimi, Verratti, and so on and so forth. Well, loyalty is a two-way street. It's not harder than that. And so, do I think that and also there's a reason why his agent went out and said what he did when he did. It's because Inter are obviously planting stories that they feel betrayed by Milan Skriniar, and that he's backstabbed them and he's ungrateful. Well, if you do that, then what do you think is going to happen? Of course the player is going to defend himself, and he's not going to do so himself. He's going to go via his agent and lawyer, Sistici. So that when he comes out and does this, it's essentially them going, we're sick of your bullshit, Inter. We're done. We're leaving.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for making the decision to leave Inter. I think he's shown himself, as you've described here to be incredibly loyal, much more loyal than the
Anyone.
overwhelming majority of the modern footballer. He's shown himself to be very, very loyal. And even last summer, when Inter were basically made it clear openly that they wanted to sell Skriniar,
Skriniar to
and
get
they were basically using him in order to sell him for big money, make a profit, and buy a replacement. That he sat back and he's basically said, pretty much said, I love Inter so much that I'm happy to go along with whatever is best for Inter, whether that means being sold and they use the money to replace me and make a profit, or staying because that's good. That's for the good of Inter, and I think that is very, very commendable, and that showed his loyalty
I think what's going to
his
happen.
class. And
Yeah,
now,
it does.
yeah, and now it's obviously been horribly handled by Inter, as you've explained. But from the Inter point of view, it's also
Inter want to sell him.
Marotta made a big mistake. He should have just accepted the 60 million. He tried to hold on, and Marotta's had this. This has been, I want to say, a weakness, because it's been as much a strength of Marotta's work over the years, including at Juventus, as it has been a weakness. But there has been occasions where he's been so hell-bent on getting those few extra pennies for a deal, or when he's buying a player to try and get the deal for a few pennies less, that in the end the deal hasn't happened, and that's happened a few too many times in his career. And that's, I remember the Marco Verratti deal when Juventus were trying to buy Marco Verratti, and they got quoted. I can't remember exact amount it was, but he was trying to get the price down from who was it? Pescara.
Yeah.
He was trying to get the price down by only like €500,000 or something,
Which is stupid.
which was ridiculous. And in the end, they lost him to PSG because of that.
No, they waltzed in and paid up. And I mean, this is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, they've all been arrogant here. Marotta's been arrogant. He's made a mistake, but I think we all know who Marotta is, and he's human. I think I wouldn't want anyone else to be in charge of Inter during this entire period. He rebuilt a winning cycle, and Inter are still winning titles because of that. And that is also thanks to Suning. I mean, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. Suning have done a fantastic job since joining the club, since taking over the club and taking them to the next level. But since the pandemic started, they are a liability, and they are dragging Inter down with them. And this notion that they want €1 billion in cash for this club is a joke. When Everton with the EPL revenue stream are being sold for 500, are being put up for sale for £500 million. An Italian club with that ridiculous revenue stream, who don't even own their own stadium, won $1 billion on top of taking on all the debt. Like, reality just called. Please enter it.